This is my video project of acid and base reaction kinetics. So first of all, what is kinetics? Kinetics is the study of the rate at which chemicals react. So in a reaction, atoms are just flown around and sometimes they collide into one another. However, you'd think this always results in a reaction, but that's not the case. Most of the time, these collisions don't result in anything. That's because atoms need to collide into each other with just enough power and in the right spot. And this has to do with the activation energy. Just think of the activation energy as an energy barrier that you have to overcome. And that has to do with the speed of the particles, where every reaction has a minimum requirement for the reaction to happen. And so with more energy, we can easily overcome this barrier. And so the reaction rate is higher. So now we know that to affect the rate of any reaction, we want either more or less collisions and a certain amount of energy to either increase or lower the rate of a reaction. So could we perhaps change those factors that determine the speed of a reaction? Well, this is where I come in. In the first part of my experiment, I'll be using a catalyst to speed up the reaction rate of the acid and base reaction. And the way this works is that catalysts provide an alternative pathway for those chemicals. And so imagine this: you're stuck in a room that's on fire and you're trying to get out, but the door is blocked from the other way, so you can't get out because you don't have enough energy. A catalyst would tell you, oh look, the window's right there, you can just jump. It would take way less energy. So in the first part of the experiment, we have two test tubes from the left. In the first one, there's nothing in there, just vinegar equal to the amount in the second. However, the difference is I've added a catalyst, yeast, to the second test tube. Now, catalysts speed up the chemical reaction by providing an alternative reaction pathway that has a lower activation energy compared to the uncatalyzed reaction. So this allows more reacting molecules to overcome the energy barrier. And as you can see here, it is visual. So by looking at this, we can tell that the first test tube still has a CO2 being produced, but in the second, which has the catalyst, you can see that the reaction has completely stopped and no gas is being formed, thus proving that the reaction rate was much faster using the catalyst. So in the third test tube on the right, I set the temperature of the vinegar at 22 degrees, hoping that that would slow the reaction rate as the kinetic energy would be lower. However, that didn't happen as expected, and now that I've thought about it, it's probably because the temperature just wasn't low enough, so it wasn't like you couldn't visually tell that the reaction rate was slower. So if I was to do this again, I would make sure that the difference in temperature between the two test tubes is larger. The different factors here are the concentration. Which one is it? This is the diluted, and this is the one with a full concentration. Alright? We take equal scoops of each. relatively the same, and then we dump them in. 3, 2, 1. As you can see, the reaction rate is much faster here because of the concentration. The collisions between the baking soda and the vinegar are more likely to occur, While here, it's mostly water, so collisions between the substances don't happen very often. It's mostly with water instead of with the vinegar, which leads to a slower reaction rate. Okay, all that's cool and all, but why is the study of kinetics so valuable? Well, let me tell you. Understanding kinetics of chemical reactions allows engineers and scientists to optimize industrial processes for efficiency and cost effectiveness by manipulating reaction conditions such as temperature, concentration, and the use of catalysts. They can adjust rates to maximize product yield and minimize unwanted byproducts. Did you know that kinetics play a crucial role in our biological processes? For example, in our human body, enzymes serve as biological catalysts. And so when they're secreted into our digestive tract, they help break down nutrients faster, like amylase, which is secreted into our body or digestive tract and transforms starch into simple sugars. Without enzymes like those, we would not be able to absorb enough nutrients, and ultimately, we would all die, as the absence of enzymes is incompatible with life. And that's kinetics for you. Thank you.